Okay, are we live? We live on YouTube?
I see something popping up.
Something popping up. Nothing's on my end. Let me just go to make sure we're almost live.
Oh, something says live. There we go. We are good.
We're good. We're good.
We're good.
All righty. Welcome. What's crack-a-lackin', everybody? Thank you for coming back to the Shooting in the Woods podcast. I'm Joe.
And I'm Ethan. How's everybody doing today?
Great. Oh, this is going to be awesome. I hope everybo's we're going to wait for a chat to come in. But today we are going to be going over concealed carry and everything that comes with it. So anyway, but before we start, how have you been, Ethan?
I've been pretty good. Just had a nice day off today.
Yes, I had a half a day, and it was quite eventful.
Yeah.
Word to the wise, everybody. If you have to get a new phone, make sure you are a delegate on your plan, or, Sprint will make your life a living hell. So, and that as far as I'm willing to go. So, let's get right into it. So concealed carry is pretty much meaning you're carrying a gun concealed. Would you say that's a good explanation?
Yes. In fact, in some cases, that is the only way you can carry a gun is concealed. Now, people say that technically, I guess open carry is 50 states legal, but it is not. It just isn't. People will give you issues. Cops will give you issues. But yeah, essentially just having a handgun concealed on your person somewhere.
Exactly. Now, there's two different types of carry. There's concealed carry, which most people will use. And like Ethan said, it's not 50 state legal to open carry. Open carry means you would have a gun in the open, just to clear that up. So that pretty much means that for most of you that are most of the new gun owners that are looking to carry a gun, you're going to be carrying a concealed weapon in your waistband or off carry, or there's all different ways to carry. You're going to need a gun first and foremost. Second of all, you're going to need a holster, and then you can travel down that rabbit hole.
That's right. And we'll get into that. We're going to start from the beginning, getting your CCW, which is concealed carry weapons license, which varies by state and it varies by town even. Then we'll go through some of the options you have for where you want to carry, how you want to carry it. I mean, where, like physically on your person, the types of guns you want to carry, the different types of holsters that are available, and we'll go from there. We'll see how we do here.
Oh, rock on. By the way, we got someone in the live chat, Jason. Hello. He's actually a very good friend of mine. He's in the live chat. Shout out to Jason. So yeah, let's get right to it. I actually have a good handling on this because in the state of Massachusetts, I actually am a firearm safety instructor. For listeners coming in, there will be kind of different laws state to state, but typically, depending on where you are, you're going to need to obviously fill out an application with your local police department stating why you need to get a license to carry. That's what we call it here in Massachusetts, or your concealed weapons permit. Like most people want to know, it is your constitutional right to carry a firearm. As long as you can pass a background check and you are a law-abiding citizen, you have the right to carry a firearm. Some states will not, will make it very easy, very hard, actually. There's very few states that make it easy. I want to correct myself on that. But if you want to carry a gun, you have to go through the proper steps, and that's what we have to do as law-abiding citizens. For example, in Massachusetts, we are supposed to first take a firearms safety course that is registered with the state of Massachusetts, as in me, the safety instructor. You take my course. I teach you firearm safety, design, function, how to shoot. I teach you how to shoot. And from there, you will get a certificate from your given instructor, and then you go to your local police department. From there, you pay a $100 check, especially with us in the state of Massachusetts. It's a non-refundable $100 check to the state of Massachusetts, as I just said. You'll sit down with your local police, firearms licensing officer, who most people would just have a regular cop on certain jurisdictions and stuff like that. You sit down, you take your photo, ID, and you wait for about 3 to 4 months. And as long as everything checks out, you will get a concealed weapons permit showing up in the mail, or in our case, Ethan, we have to go to the local police department because it's over the creek,
and they can't be bothered to ship it to us.
I know it's not like where we live. It's just you have to mail it, certified mail. I could probably, I think you've probably said it too. You could drive around our town within 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, easy.
Yeah. So, but anyway, let's get off that rant. But so that's for everybody listening. If you're looking to get a concealed weapons permit, that is not how it goes in every state. Places like Texas, New Hampshire, now I believe North and South Dakota, and Kansas, places that have things called constitutional carry. The short version of that is permitless carry. You don't need a permit to carry a concealed firearm. It's a very good concept. Most people should be able to have that. Again, people need to get with the times for that to happen. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I personally don't see Massachusetts ever becoming a constitutional carry state, but when you have
something pretty drastic happens.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry, everybody. If I know we kind of harp on living in Massachusetts, but you are going to know why when we do the episode on Massachusetts gun laws, why we get to on our high horse.
Oh, just wait till you hear some of the humdingers we got.
Oh, my God. The humdingers are going to be coming. I swear. Oh, my good gosh. So, yeah, that's kind of explain how you go get your concealed weapons permit. Would you want to talk about what qualifications you kind of need for concealed weapons? Mine say, what would you say, Ethan?
Qualifications. Well, again, that you're the course, and you need to, well, one, not be a felon.
That is number one. Do not be a felon.
That is pretty much countrywide at that point. You need to be able to pass a background check for anytime you purchase a firearm. That's not necessarily to. Actually, I guess it would be to get a license in any state that you need to get a license.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, it's a whole process, or it's not. If you're lucky enough to live in a state where it's not. Exactly.
Everybody has to consider when they're looking to get a concealed weapons permit. Everybody that's listening, you want to make sure you have the right mindset. I live in a very rural town. I grew up on the south. Me and Ethan both have lived in the south on the South Shore of Massachusetts. We live around a lot of rural areas, but also no matter where you live, you're gonna have some trouble, crime, whatever. I feel better knowing that I have a firearm on me. I'm gonna put this out there. I know I'm gonna get some flack for it. A good 75% of the time, if I'm just running to the Dunkies to get a coffee in the morning, I'm not gonna have a gun on me. But for the most part, I want to make sure I have a firearm on me at all times to protect me, my wife, my mother, anybody. As long as I have that, I have a little bit step ahead. It is the great equalizer.
That's true.
Other things to consider, even if you aren't carrying, if you just want to get a firearm, depending on where you live, most of the time you're going to require a permit to get some type of firearm license to get a permit, to get a firearm. Sorry. And home defense, skeet, you want to take your kids hunting, go target shooting, competition, whatever it is, that's what you have to consider. What are you going to use that firearm for? For tonight, we're going to talk about carrying a concealed firearm. So what type of gun, what type of firearm would you think, is ideal to carry? You can go back and forth of this is better than this is better than this, but
And of course, with every single type of debate like that, you can find two different people that are, and not even physically kind of the same size. Like you could find two people that are the same build, same kind of height, same kind of weight, and they could prefer two totally different guns. It's something that's kind of different for everyone. I personally carry this guy right here pretty much every day. The M&P Shield 9mm. This is the Gen 2 version.
Oh, that's Gen 2. I actually just sold my Gen 1 to get the parts kit for my 19.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did.
But yeah, people will find that they like different things. They like carrying on different, areas of themselves, and there's a lot of options for things, and a lot of holsters, a lot of different brands, so many different brands of holsters. That's a whole other debate.
Oh my God, the amount of holsters you can get. Now, to clear up on holsters, let's just make this known. There is many types of holster makers out there. There's Kydex, leather, cloth. There's so many different types. I think that there's like a mesh holster. I wouldn't recommend that. If you have a mesh holster, I will make fun of you. But it has to fit your body. If you're a first-time gun owner and you're looking to carry a firearm, you will go through many holsters to find the right fit. You can be lucky and find one that fits you just right, but you want to make sure that if you're going to be carrying something that's going to be on you for more than 8 hours a day, you want to make sure that is comfortable on your person.
It's true. When I first started carrying, and I think a lot of people do this, for some people still do it, it's a good option for some people, is they'll carry the absolute biggest gun that they can possibly carry and still have it be concealed, which is what I did. This was the first gun that I ever owned. This is my good old M&P 9 full size. And I carried this concealed in a inside the waistband holster for a good few months after I first got it, because it was all I had and I wanted to carry a gun. And as we've said before, going back to the reasons for carrying a gun, even in a small town like ours, a town that really nobody that's anywhere even more than a couple dozen miles away from us has even heard of. There's actually, in a town like this, lots of wildlife, and wildlife coyotes, coy dogs, which are even bigger and more annoying than coyotes.
Of course. Let me just interrupt you real quick. For those who are actually wondering, we live in a town called Plimpton, Massachusetts. For listeners that are from Massachusetts, you will understand Plimpton is probably one of the smallest towns you could possibly think of. We get misunderstood for Plymouth because they think we are not educated enough and we're uneducated swine that we can't pronounce Plymouth. Plymouth is a very small town, but to go off your point when it comes to carrying guns, we are probably one of the largest towns, like in the municipalities, per capita gun owners. Like, I think the ratio last time I checked was like 1 in every 7 people in this town of Plimpton are a gun owner.
Exactly. It's a very small town. I think no more than like 3,500 people or something like that. A lot of farms, a lot of farmers.
Yes.
And if for no other reason you want to carry a gun to protect yourself from predators, that's a perfectly valid reason for wanting to carry a gun.
Absolutely.
Because around here we have coyotes, because there's a bunch of farm animals around here.
Oh my God, the horse farms. Jeez.
And it's just crazy the amount of dangerous animals that if they are feeling, particularly vicious that day, they might even come after you. It's comforting to know that, I have a way to deal with an issue if that issue arises. And even towns like ours have an underbelly. I mean, the town right next over from us is known for its heroin
overdoses. Yeah, the heroin overdoses per day.
Exactly. It's like you never know what you're going to find. Even in a small rural area like this, there's still the world is not a safe place.
Yeah, this is not rainbows and sunshine. Reality kicks in. You get out of high school and you start seeing stuff. I was fortunate. I took time after high school. I didn't go right into college where I was just still sheltered. I went out into the real world. I worked at a convenience store in the town we're talking about, where there is drugs, where there is crime. It's not fun when I have to go leave work at 11 o'clock at night and I see kids doing drugs in the parking lot. There's theft. There's everything. And most times when you have to think about it is, again, what you think about when you're going to be a gun owner and you want to carry a firearm. Some places of work will not allow you to carry a firearm. They will not allow that. Either it's company policy, your manager's discretion. This is how you can look at that. If you don't see it, you don't hear it, you don't know about it. I'm not advocating that. I am not a lawyer. Do not do that and get caught. But if you really feel like, again, as many people that are listening that do know me personally, I work in the bar scene. I'm a bouncer. I sometimes have to walk the bartenders and the waitresses to their cars in downtown Plymouth because there are shady people out there. There have been cases of stalking. There have been cases of attempted robbery, and it's almost behooves the person in that type of field to make sure they have something that's the next step up from someone who clearly has issues.
Absolutely. And I'll say this to anyone, even if they don't want to own a firearm, even if they even if you're against it, I don't know why you'd be watching this podcast if you were.
Exactly. Yeah. But then that's the thing. People might be saying, "Oh, I'm against carrying a gun," but when you really hear about it, that's what it is. We're having a conversation with everybody. Some people might not want to carry a gun, but they might want to at least own one to have for home protection. I don't know about for me personally, I carry a gun almost 75 to 80% of the day. I don't carry at work because I work for my family, and they don't. My dad is a raging anti-gun. He's he's not anti-gun. He doesn't feel comfortable around him.
Yeah,
I don't know, but also, and so anyway, getting off that tangent, it all depends on what your life has for you. What are you going to be doing in your life? Why would you honestly need a gun? I personally think it's your Second Amendment right. It's given to you by our Constitution. If you want to own a gun and carry it, go right ahead.
Absolutely.
As long as you're legal and you're law-abiding enough to carry one. But anyway, let's how about this? Let's take a quick sidetrack and let's talk about some options first. I know we kind of interrupted you with when you were talking about your shield and all that, but I can see you have some guns on the table. That's actually quite a few. One of them I want to know what it is, but I can't figure out what it is.
Oh, we'll get there.
Okay, we will.
But yeah, I might as well just start with the guns. And so I'm going to start basically from my carry progression, as well as a couple other guns that are my father's and some that used to be my mother's. And this is not even the entire selection of military options that you can find. Like, this is a small sampling of just what I happened to grab for this video. And if you can think of a gun that you're going to want to carry, you can find one. So anyway, this is where I started. Again, full-size pistol, because I said I want to carry the biggest gun on me that I could possibly carry and still have it be concealed. Which for day-to-day use is not necessarily the most practical thing. However, it is doable. And again, I did it. Joe, I'm pretty sure you do it on a regular basis.
Yes, I do. I personally carry at the moment because I am a husky fellow. I carry the Glock 20, which is a full-size 10 millimeter, which is the best millimeter. We are going to be doing a video on this soon. I just have to get the ammo. But it all depends on where you carry. We're going to get into holster. I do have some. You have some holsters that you
have. I have a few holsters.
Yeah, I have a few holsters we'll go over. But again, it all depends on your person. I can fully conceal a full size handgun, but like Ethan said, I have this Ruger P85. It's a 9 millimeter steel frame double single action handgun. This is considered a full size. This was wasn't my first carry gun. My first carry gun was Smith & Wesson SD40 VE, the next iteration of the Sigma series. And yes, it was a 40, I know, but I grew up and I carry a 10. So, but yeah, this theoretically is not a good carry gun for inside the waistband. It is heavy. It is it's got some heat to it. Okay, this is no polymer plastic fantastic. This thing's got some stank. But like I said, it all depends on what you're able to carry at the moment.
Exactly. So I carried that for a while. It worked out okay for me, but then I decided, okay, I need something a little smaller. So something it's not even really the weight for me, because I'm another big guy. I'm someone that can carry a big gun. It was more the size and the printing for me. Printing is, for those who don't know, is when the outline of the gun is showing through your clothing or through a jacket or anything like that. It's just physically showing that you have a firearm on your person without it being shown. So I opted for this guy. This is the M&P 45C, the original Generation 1 version of it. Let's see if I can get a little size comparison. I can kind of tell the grip size difference there. Let me get out of the light there. You can tell the difference in the grip lengths. And the slides on these two, really not that far off. So this is essentially a lot of gun manufacturers make guns like this that are essentially just their full-size pistols chopped off at either end. And that's basically what these are. And
yeah.
So I said, okay, that's something that I can carry concealed, but in a pinch, it could double as a duty pistol if needed. And guns like this, the manufacturers that make them, they make them so they can take the magazines from their big brothers. So again, this is a full-size M&P 45 magazine. This is a 10-rounder instead of the 8 rounds that this normally comes in. So,
and for people wondering, Those are, I believe, what, Gen 1 M&Ps?
Yes, these are both Gen 1 M&Ps. My Shield is a Gen 2, but yeah.
Yes. Now, Smith & Wesson, now, for those, again, if you want to watch, if you're watching and you're like, oh, I want to get a Smith & Wesson. I don't know about the 45s and maybe in the 40s, but I know for the 9s, they have pretty much every type of carry position. They have the compact. They have that. It's like 3 and 3-inch barrel, which is essentially the Glock 19 of the
yes.
They have all they do. It's Smith & Wesson. I will give it to them. They do for the M&P line. They have a lot of different options for anybody and what they're looking for.
They do, especially if you take the M&P range as a whole, the Gen 1 and the Gen 2, they have something of every size. They have the full size, they have compacts, they have the Gen 2s, which are basically this size that you can find in 9mm or 40 cal. They have ones with 3.6-inch barrels, with 4-inch barrels. They have ones, if you go with the old Gen 1 9 and 40 compact models, they also take their full-size companion magazines, but they are much shorter. They have a 3-inch barrel, I believe, and an even shorter grip. So it depends on how much level of concealment you want to get. So that's what I would consider to be the mainstay of your basic double stack magazine. And double stacks, every company makes one, and they pretty much,
you name it, they will make a double stack.
They pretty much follow the same sizing system throughout most manufacturers, and a lot of them will do the same thing with the interchangeable magazines. If the magazine will fit, it'll work in that grip.
Exactly. I can tell. I'm just being very coy here, but I'm guessing you're a M&P fan there, Ethan.
I am definitely. I think you tell.
I'm just, I'm throwing a spitball in here. Maybe, I'm not saying you're a Taurus fan.
That's true, but no, M&Ps. The way I see it, there's so many good options in the polymer pistol market these days, which is what these are, which is what Glocks are, which is what. You name it. Everybody makes some.
Yeah.
And they were the most comfortable for me. And I will say, Glocks, they're not comfortable in my hand. They never have been. I've shot them before. I can shoot them just fine. They shoot well. Nobody can deny that. But these just fit my hand better. Like these, it's so comfortable, and it's just every single one of them. Even when you move down to the single stacks. Now, single stacks.
I carried a Shield for years. Exactly. Since the good part about me, again, since I'm a rather cheeky fellow, I have a pretty good gut where I can conceal a lot of different handguns. I carry appendix for a long time. The problem is when you're a heftier guy or woman, either or. Some holsters, even like the very back of the striker plate, that's going to start riding underneath your stomach, and you're going to start getting rashes, and it's going to be uncomfortable. So now I carry in about the 5 to 6 o'clock position when I carry on my back. So know what you figure out. Okay, will this be comfortable with me? Most reputable or any reputable gun shop, or I think sometimes Bass Pro will allow you to do it. If you buy a holster from them, try them on to make sure that's going to be comfortable.
Absolutely. There's a lot of different holster options. Some of them, like here, for instance, this is an Alien Gear 1.0 leather holster. Everybody's heard of Alien Gear.
Yep. It's the basic pitch of
exactly. They're the mainstay of your I won't even say budget, but I'll say low cost Kydex holster. And honestly, this guy, I carried it with this gun every single day of my life for 2 years straight, and it never missed a beat. It's perfectly comfortable. It feels well all day long. And I carried this just about 4 or 5 o'clock. Right away. Yeah, it works great.
Along the same lines of holsters, it will range. You can get custom holsters or kind of right out the box. Right out the box, you hold on one second. Hold on. I'm sorry. I got thrown off. All right, Jason, I'm going to answer your question right now in the live chat. We'll get back to the holster. When Jason is talking about what would be the right time to draw your weapon, or when is it too soon?
Absolutely.
That's all situational, I feel.
That is definitely situational, and it also depends on your state that you're in, on what will be considered legal or what will be considered not legal defense. The way I see it, the rule of thumb that I follow in Massachusetts is that if my life or the life of someone innocent nearby is in immediate danger, that is the only time it is appropriate to draw my weapon.
Exactly. What I like to teach people in my classes is, yes, it is not followed. Don't use this as a defense. And I want to make this clear. I am not a lawyer, neither is Ethan, but this is coming from an instructor, and I thankfully have not had to draw my weapon on anybody yet. Again, nothing is a definite. Something's going to happen. Situations can change. There's most states have some type of doctrine called a castle doctrine or a stand your ground law. In a nutshell, especially for your house, for a home invasion, where you live, say your house is your castle. You have every right to defend everything within your castle. That's about the gist of it. The best way to teach yourself when's the best time to draw your weapon, or if you know if it's too soon, get training.
Yeah.
There's many reputable trainers across the country, whether you're in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, New Jersey, New York, wherever you are. There's always going to be some type of firearm training. You don't have to go to like a tactical shooting course. We're not doing SEAL Team 6 where we're getting Bin Laden. It's concealed carry training courses where you can get those courses to train you when would be a good time to draw your weapon. Essentially, if you feel your life is in danger and you can definitely tell someone's coming at you and you have no way, do not hesitate. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff that comes after it. If you have to, unfortunately, use your firearm, in self-defense of yourself, another person, there's going to be legal action. Definitely do not, under any circumstance, run. Stay there, call the police, explain what happened. Then I just tell everybody, call a lawyer. There are firearm law firms out there that before you even call 911, you call the law firm and they can direct you what to say. Don't even say anything until they show up.
Yep.
The police are automatically going to take your firearm. Automatically for evidence. That's what they have to do. If it's clean cut and the officer knows, okay, this was definitely a self-defense shooting, you're going to get your gun back. You're not going to lose your license. It's just at that time, that carry gun is going to be gone for a little bit while it's in evidence.
Potentially upwards of a few years.
Yes, it could take up to a few years unless, again, you're lucky and they realize it's clean cut. Mm-hmm. And best case scenario, 4 months. Worst case scenario, 5 years. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, but that's what you have to consider if you feel you have to draw a firearm out. That's what the Second Amendment is there for, not just hunting or sporting purposes. Defend yourself against a tyrannical government and self-preservation. So I feel if you have any other questions, if anyone has any questions, Jason, if I answer your question, hopefully that can lead you in the right direction. But quick segue. Let's segue back to what we were talking about, holsters. Oh, okay. So like Alien Gear, there's companies like this Galco. This is also a leather backing Kydex material shell. I carry this in the 6 o'clock position. These are just around the same price tag as Alien Gear, Bravo Concealment, any of those kind of first starter companies, even Blade Tech. I carried a Blade Tech for years with my shield for appendix. What makes this in the waistband? When it sits against your body, the only thing that's going to technically show is these clips right here on your belt. So when that sits like there, this is clear for everybody. You're going to sit this right there. This won't be shown. This will be covered by a thing. But the only thing that might show is these clips right here. No one's going to know that could be a cell phone case. Depending on what frame, I know with M&Ps, I know with the CZ SP01s, the Ruger American Compacts, Glocks, you name it, you can get a custom holster maker, Kydex holster for given your situation. But essentially, you need another thing everyone should consider is gun belts. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking a tactical belt. I'm not talking like this ultra cool. I'm going, on a SWAT team. It's get a good belt. It'll make a world of difference.
I was going to say, people will be surprised how much of a difference that will make, because a regular, ordinary black belt or whatever belt you have, it ain't going to hold a gun for long. Your pants are going to be on the floor.
Yeah, that $5 Walmart special is going to make you think you're in a Wu-Tang Clan video from it just sagging on the floor after at least a year.
Exactly.
Spend the money, go to people like, I know Magpul, they have belts, they have Bravo, not Bravo Company, Blue Alpha Gear. Blue Alpha Gear is probably the industry leading gun belt manufacturer for carry, duty, you name it. Don't skimp on the belts, people. That's what I like to say.
I've heard people say, why do you need to spend all that extra money on a gun belt? And then they pick one up, and then they're like,
oh yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is no joke. This is for real.
Exactly.
I suffer from, I have no rear end. It's just a baffle board, pretty much, just goes straight down my backside. So I have to pull my pants up a lot. A belt makes a world of difference. If you don't want to see plumbers crack, and then you're looking at my 10 millimeter, it's really not looking good. If I drop some change on the floor, it kind of gets people. So, but yeah, there's, like I said, holsters are not a dime a dozen, but they can get up there. If
dime a dozen for selection, at least.
Yes. I would not consider carrying a Uncle Mike's special. Uncle Mike's holsters. If that's all you can afford, that's awesome. Carry it for a little bit. Change it out. That has no retention. What you really want to know about holsters is retention.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for a custom holster to come back from MK Holsters out of Rockland for my Glock 20. It's taking a little bit to hold it, mold it, all that crap. Retention is when I go like this. This isn't actually retaining. I'm holding the plastic shell. It's supposed to hold the gun. If I don't hold it, that happens. That's not good. No, we don't need that. You don't want that at all. So make sure it has good retention. That's why you spend the money on good holsters. There's also things like ankle holsters, off-body carry. We can get into. I think this is a topic we can definitely divulge a whole episode into, is holsters and different types of holsters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. But generally speaking, for when you conceal carrying a firearm, you're gonna need a good holster, a good belt, and then we're gonna get back into more guns, because
swinging back around to our size here. We've kind of moved down the steps, so now we're gonna move into our single stack subcompact range. Now, this is a market that has exploded in the past few years. Everybody has been making single stack 9mm of every shape and size that you could think of, because why wouldn't you? They're great. Now, the M&P Shield, the Gen 1, it was not the first, but it was kind of the one that threw it into the realm of popularity over the last few years. And
it set the bar hands down.
Absolutely.
The only other gun I could think of that was the concealed carry gun before the Shield came out was maybe a Smith & Wesson J-frame, or I can't really think of
maybe like a car.
Yes, a car C9 or a car CM9 or something like that, or even
those are pretty much the only things that you could find before Smith & Wesson came around with this guy. Now the Shield, as you can see, it's a much smaller gun than these guys. Now this is the compact, and this is my full size, and you can see it's a lot smaller. But the big deal about these, and the gun's unloaded, as anybody can tell, is the thinness. This is a very, very thin firearm, and it's a heck of a lot thinner than this guy was. I don't know if you can really tell there. It's probably about less than 3/4 the width of it. Now, people don't know that makes a difference. That makes a heck of a lot of difference. An 1/8 of an inch can make a difference when it comes to something that you're carrying on you all day long. And I honestly fell in love with this thing as soon as I got it. Now this is the Gen 2 Gen 2.0 9mm Shield. Comes with a 7-round magazine. Now You can see that the shield is not quite single stack. It's like stack and a quarter. It's like they couldn't quite match it up with your other true single stack magazines. This is the Ruger LC9S, which we'll get to in a minute. This is the
Oh, okay, that's what that gun is. I was like, what is it? I'm like, dude, that looks like a Beretta. Like, I'm thinking, is that a Beretta Nano? It
does almost look like one, doesn't it? But yeah,
I'm looking. I'm like, that's a pretty sweet Beretta Nano. I didn't even know he had that.
But yeah, so and this is another one that kind of came around after the fact. This is another polymer frame, striker fired, 3-inch barrel, little subcompact pistol. And I will say one nice thing about this guy is its trigger for a.
Is it the LC9S or is it the LC9?
This is the S, and very specific.
Okay. Yep. Okay, that's why.
LC9. It had a just kind of your average trigger. This I will say very good trigger for a striker fired subcompact gun.
Yeah, for people watching, Ethan's downplaying it. I had an LC9. It sucked. The gun was good. That trigger
was good. The trigger was
awful. And good ups to Ruger for coming out with the LC9S because that trigger
is a nice trigger. This is a sweet trigger.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm not sugarcoating anything. I don't care. Stop shitting on Ruger. No. Well, actually,
and getting back to holsters real quick, one last thing. This is how I carry my shield most days. Now, people often carry in their pocket with small guns. The shield, most people would consider to be a little bit too big for pocket carry. Again, I'm a big guy. It actually works for me. So I got this holster from a place called Alabama Holsters. It's a small kind of, it's a family-owned business that I actually saw from a recommendation from the Hickok 45 YouTube channel, which if you haven't seen his channel, it's great. I love his channel. I love his stuff. He recommended the Alabama Holsters. And what they do is it's one of those custom shops. They custom every gun you order. And it took a while. This took like close to 3 months to arrive.
Oh, wow. That's a long lead time.
It's a long lead time, but this thing is great. And again, retention, that ain't going nowhere.
Oh, no, that's actually really good retention for what
this is a really, really nice holster. And it was only $40. I mean,
that's not bad. That's actually for people who are listening.
Really not. And like for me, just wearing, I just wear jeans. They're not even super loose fitting. They're just kind of, relatively kind of baggy jeans. This just disappears in my pocket. Like if I'm going to the store, I don't want to put on one of these bulky holsters. I don't want to deal with the clips. I don't want to, have to take my pants off or whatever. I'll just take this, throw it in my pocket, and go to the store. It's great.
That I think it's Alabama Holsters.
Alabama Holsters, yep.
All right, I'll definitely I'll look them up on Instagram and reach out to them because that's actually I like the look of that and that's a great price. Maybe we can actually have them on for a guest podcast.
That'd be pretty sweet. But yeah. Highly recommended. And from the looks of things, they have an option for pretty much any small gun you can think of, and they have a couple different styles of holster too. These things are great.
Yeah, sweet. I really don't have anything other than my Glock and my P85. I got something here that I'll wait to talk on. But all right, so for people that are listening in now, like I said, we're talking about concealed carry. We have talked about what it takes, what you got to do to get the concealed weapons permit, how you're supposed to carry, mindset. We talked about what you should do if you have to draw your weapon and what's a good time to do it. We suggest, again, we are not lawyers, but get some proper training. Mm-hmm. So this is where my side comes in, and this is what cringes me as an instructor. For Massachusetts, you are mandated to have a safety course. So as an instructor, and for other instructors listening, especially from Massachusetts, but nationwide, you've heard this. When a person is looking to get their first firearm and their firearms license, and they come to the instructor and say, "What gun should I get?" I cringe when I hear the words, "My friend said." So I'm going to take the reins a little bit here. Mm-hmm. Now, let's start off with probably the biggest one that pisses me off more than God itself. I just cannot handle this. You have a nice, a wonderful woman that comes in. Maybe she's a single mother, or she lives alone in an apartment, kind of, not so chill neighborhood. And
you got to protect yourself.
Yeah, she's looking to protect herself. And she goes to her friend and she says, "Oh, my friend says I should get a 22." I want to just be like, all right, no, tell your friend he's an asshole. I'm sorry. This is the stigma that women get. I know for a fact some women are actually can handle many different types of calibers. My mother, she carries a 38. She loves shooting that gun. She's only shot it a couple times, but she can handle a 38 no problem. She likes shooting my 9mm. I think I've had her shoot a 40 or something like that. The fact that you decide to tell a woman just because she might be like 90 pounds soaking wet that, oh, you need a 22 there, little lady. No. No. I just can't reiterate that. No. Good example. So this is a Ruger Mark IV 22 target pistol. It's a 22. It's effing tiny. Okay. You want a little lady to try and defend herself? Yeah. There has been studies shown that 22 is an effective round. Assassins have used it for years because you can, carry it lightly. A lot of preppers use it, survivalists. I am not downgrading the 22, but for home defense or concealed carry, if you're packing a Mark IV target pistol, I would rip up your concealed weapons permit on the spot. Or I'd find a person who did it, who told you to carry that gun, and I'd smack them over the head.
Absolutely. Carrying a 22 is not only stupid, it's dangerous. It's
exactly. Now, before we get on this tangent, I will say if you can get into the 22 Magnum. Now that you have a little bit more of a chance because that is no joke. You can really hurt people. Have found carrying a 22 Magnum is a lot better of a chance than a 22.
It is
LR.
Now, again, the main factor there. We all know a 22 can kill. If you get a good shot placement, a 22 will take down whatever it hits. The thing about 22s is that due to the fact that they are rimfire and the way that the rimfire cartridge is manufactured and designed, it is inherently not as reliable as any center fire cartridge out there. 22s, you'd be lucky if you get 100 rounds to work without a malfunction most of the time. 22s are not reliable. And we can get into, and in fact, I'd like to do a whole video dedicated to 22s because one, they're cheap and they're a really fun target pistol. Nobody guarantees.
Oh, rock on! Hell yeah, we will. Oh, of course we will.
We're gonna get to some 22s, but for defense, self-defense of any kind, home defense or just pocket carry or any type of concealed carry, do not do it. Stay away from it. It is unreliable. It is dangerous. It's just asking for a world of trouble. There are plenty of different options out there, and if you're recoil sensitive, if you're somebody like I can completely understand a super small framed person not wanting a gun with a lot of recoil. That's fine. Now there are options.
There's definitely some options there.
Absolutely, like you got your 38 special revolvers, which we'll get into once we get there.
You got your 38 special. You got your 380 AC. Yes. You have 380 ACP. Mm-hmm. You have 32 ACP, which is it all depends for like a last ditch effort gun if that's all you can afford. There is a lot of different bullet weights out there now. A lot more bullet manufacturers are kind of getting on the 32 ACP train. But for everyone's knowledge that are just tuning in now, and we're talking about caliber choice. This is another dedicated episode.
Absolutely.
But the 380 ACP is the lowest, like the minimum standard that the FBI and CIA and all these ATF agencies decide is the like smallest caliber that is effective, like killing, stopping power effective.
Yeah,
so
I would
a
agree.
380, if you're recoil sensitive, again, on the 90-pound woman or just any woman, it doesn't matter, or even a man. Again, we're not we're non
anybody
dominant. Exactly, that's a good thing. Anybody useful. Yeah, now that we kind of covered the whole 22, that's again, this is where again, that's a tangent that I can go on forever. It infuriates my mother-in-law. So that's my wife, and I was like, no, no,
No, yeah,
get the
there's
F
other options.
out.
There's safer options, and if you can learn to shoot a 22, you can learn to shoot a 380 or even a 9 millimeter most of the time.
Exactly. Now
All it takes.
on the go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, all it takes is practice, and
Exactly.
yeah, really, if anybody can handle that, that's all the force is.
Yeah,
It's a mental thing for most people, and people, once you get comfortable with it, you will find that it's not nearly as bad as people think it is. First of all, and
exactly.
so yeah.
So on the other hand, going along the lines of my friend said, yeah, you need a 44 Magnum. That's what you want to carry. Like it's like, where are these jokers coming from? I see these. You want to talk about uneducated swine? Like
Absolutely.
that. You want people to shoot a 44 Magnum for their first gun, and they're like, it's not fun. That's just not fun at all. 44 Magnum is a very powerful revolver cartridge. I would not recommend shooting that as your first caliber.
Absolutely not.
Definitely get some proper knowledge. There's many channels on YouTube like Iraq Veteran, the Gun Collective, Military Arms Channel, Such, Hickok, Hank Strange. Shout out to all those guys, because those are the people that showed me and millions of other people that caliber is key. Don't carry a 44 Magnum along the same lines. Okay. Or someone says, yeah, why don't you get one of them Desert Eagle? Yeah, that blow a hole, or a Smith & Wesson 500. No, like, just, you need to be beat with a wiffle ball bat. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if I could carry a wiffle ball bat and just start whacking heads, just like, who's gonna have the balls to just start taking the sickle and
Yeah,
like,
honestly, there's no need for anything like that, and especially with modern bullet technology, 9 millimeter, a 40, a 45, a 10 millimeter. Although even 10 millimeter is actually it's pretty hot round for self carry, for self defense.
it takes a selected few.
But yeah,
if you carry a 10 millimeter, I tip my hat to you. I don't have a hat on right now because I've been dealing with that. But still, a 10 millimeter is the best millimeter. If you are trained and well handle a 10, carry a 10.
I agree. You should be able, if you're comfortable with the recoil of a hot round, then you should absolutely carry a hot round if you so choose. It's like for people who want to, I'm going to move on back to these guys here. For people who want to start off with something that is an easier caliber to learn on, and yet they want something that still has a lot more power, something like this. This is a Ruger SP-101 357 Magnum. Now people say, oh, 357 Magnum, that's one of those, super high recoiling, exceptionally, super powerful magical guns. No, it's really not. But these things are great because they can also chamber 38 special. A 38 special in a revolver like this, which is actually a fairly hefty revolver for something this weight, is something that's super comfortable to practice on. It's a lot cheaper to practice on, and you can carry 38 specials in this if you want. Absolutely, a 38 special plus P. There's a lot of really good rounds chambered in that. But if you want that power, which some people do, you can throw a 357 Magnum load in it, and you'll be pretty damn well protected. A lot of people have, and a lot of organizations have recognized that. I think it's the 110 or 115 grain 357 Magnum is overall the most effective handgun round for self-defense that has been made in the 20th century. That's just what the going theory is. And, honestly, I believe I wouldn't want to be hit with one of these.
Yeah, they rock.
They rock. Honestly, I love
them. No. Yes, they rock, but that's wrong. That's false. I totally believe that the 22 LR is the most effective caliber. If whoever tells you that is wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options out here. Like, we got another one. This is another pocket 9 millimeter. This is the Sig Sauer P938. They also have this. This is great, dude. If you're a 1911 fan and you want something that has a similar, mode of operation, it works in basically the same way. It's a good companion gun. One of these is great. It shoots great. It has a great trigger, and again, a single action only. So it's just like a 1911 for those of you who are worth it, who are in the
in the know.
Exactly. This is a great little pistol. It shoots well, and it's just one of the many options.
Yeah. Those are what you have to consider too. For that particular case, if you're looking to buy one of those, they're going to run you about $750.
True, these
so
are
it's very, yeah, they are not cheap, but they are like very good quality. They come in I think they come in 380, don't they?
They do. They have the P238, which is essentially the same gun, just chambered in 380. It's slightly sized down, just like a couple millimeters here and there, but it's essentially the same gun.
Yeah. So here's another one that irks me to all belief. Again, I'm not trying to single out women or even guys. The fact that, I'm looking to carry a gun. I just got my concealed weapons permit. What should I get for my first gun? I'm looking to carry. I'm going to carry concealed, always on me at all times. Get a revolver. It never fails.
Yeah. Well, I would say to that, revolvers are an option for some people. They should not. They should not necessarily be your end all and be all. Because, yeah, they'll work pretty much every time if you have a decently made one, but capacity is very limited.
I feel personally, if you're going to carry a nice old school like circa 1985 Rossi, that's a very well made gun. You can't beat those things. It's just criminals. The amount of criminals that have shot people with that gun. It's just, it is the ghetto gun, man. Yeah. That is what the gangsters carry. I tell you. Wow. That's just my opinion. Don't carry a Rossi, anybody, please.
For people who maybe don't shoot as much and they maybe won't get out to the range as often, a revolver might be a good choice because it's a pretty simple operation. You pull the trigger, it goes bang, end of story. The
reason why people say carry a revolver, because you load the cylinder, close the cylinder up, and it's ready to go, essentially. Now, it does not take a new gun owner that long if they don't feel comfortable carrying one in the chamber, if, say, God forbid, they have to use it, and they pull it out of their thing, and then that's all it is. You're coming up. If you carry one in the chamber, it still works the same way. For people that don't have enough strength, some of them might have trouble just working the slide. There are guns out there. A good example is the Smith & Wesson Shield EZ in 380.
Yeah.
Excuse me 1 second.
The Shield, the 380 is absolutely something that I would recommend to maybe a new shooter or someone who is sensitive to that kind of recoil.
It's a semi-automatic 380 ACP handgun. It's a single stack, has a grip safety, and it works off a slide. But the good thing about those is it almost works off of a 22 M&P 22 spring, where it's easy to push, where you can just simple as that. Yeah, I'm doing a little bit more because I've worked this gun many times, but essentially you don't need a revolver to be effective. If you can work a semi-auto, work a semi-auto. You get the terms of, you only need one shot. No, you don't. No, you don't. What? Your adrenaline kicks in, that fight or flight moment's hitting. You don't know how many. You're spraying and praying because it's the first time. You're scared. You got a lot of just adrenaline running through you. People don't realize how much adrenaline runs through you when something like that happens. Absolutely. I personally, I don't know about you, but I carry a spare mag when I carry because, God forbid, if I ever have to shoot someone, I would dump that mag and it wouldn't even because that's what you do. It's when you're scared and, no matter how much you train, no matter how much you're think you're ready for this to happen. And I don't wake up every morning thinking, oh man, I'm going to blow someone's head off today. Now, if you get me in traffic on Route 3 and around exit 6, I swear to God, I was there today. Thank God I have a better sense of style and I have a better sense of, reality. My parents are right, because I swear, but anyway, all joking aside, you're gonna have adrenaline hit. You're gonna have a lot of emotions, and 6 rounds is gonna go just as fast as a 15 or 10 rounds.
Exactly.
And then reloading again for another, 10 to 15 rounds or another 6 rounds if you carry a speed loader.
Exactly. And that's actually a pretty good segue to carrying conditions. And I mean like condition 1, condition 2. Now, with a revolver, you pretty much don't have a choice. You have a round chambered whether you want it or not. Now, with a semi-automatic, people will say they don't feel comfortable carrying with a round in the chamber. And I can understand why they might think that, because they're maybe not as comfortable as they should be. And I say should be because if you carry a firearm, you should be comfortable with it. They're not as comfortable as they should be. And to that I say, what you were just saying, when it hits the fan and you need to use it, fine motor control goes out the window. You're gonna pick it up. You're gonna be fumbling with it. You're gonna maybe get a round racked into the chamber. But by then, your assailant may have already had a chance to shoot, or to stab you, or anything like that. And the way I see it is, if you don't feel comfortable enough to carry with a round in the chamber, you probably should reconsider carrying until you've trained more.
Exactly. Training is key for everybody who is listening or listening later on after this goes live. Training is going to be key. And that doesn't mean you're spending $200 every weekend for a training or a personal, firearms trainer. That's going to the range, getting repetition, and knowing how your gun works, how it shoots with different ammo, how it shoots with different, in different conditions, indoor, outdoor, you name it, rain. I'm just a baby and I don't want to shoot in the blistering 32°C snow. That's not me. But again, it doesn't matter. Wherever you live, you're going to have different conditions. You're going to have different, different areas you live in, even not even just going to the range and shooting. You could live in an urban area and you got to know what is beyond your target. Once that trigger is pulled, that bullet is not going to stop until it hits a good amount of force to just wall, concrete, you name it, even a person, unfortunately, if you have to defend yourself. So you need to account for where those bullets are going, and that requires training.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. There's no replacement for training, no matter what you want to get. No gun and no fancy gun with any sort of fancy trigger or fancy sights or fancy magazines, anything like that.
You can get that nice Gucci Glock from Agency Arms with the Trijicon RMR and the super badass stippling and this like dopest trigger. And if you can't hit the broadside of the barn, it's like, oh, you spent all that money for nothing. And
exactly. You can have the nicest gun in the world, but if you don't know how to use it, it's essentially a brick to you.
Exactly my point. You could have you could spend all the money on all these upgrades and doodads and holsters and all that. But if you're not shooting that gun that you're carrying, at least I try to get to the range at least once a week. Doesn't matter if I'm shooting my hollow point ammunition or just shooting some ball rounds just to get you want to get the repetitions in as much as you can. That's the key point. And that, if you're going to carry a gun, it behooves you to get the right amount of round count in. At least get every time you go to the range, shoot 100 rounds, 150 rounds through it. I know ammo's expensive, and everybody is in a different situation, but try and get at least something through it once a week if you can. Even twice a month. I know people are busy nowadays, but still,
exactly.
Nothing can.
Every shot helps. Like literally every single time you can pull the trigger, it makes you a better shooter. And what you were saying about ammo, that probably leads me to probably the last point we should talk about here.
Yeah, definitely.
Ammo choices. Now,
actually, give me 1 second. Hold on. You keep talking. I'll be right around.
So ammo choices. It's the same thing with guns. Everybody makes different types of ammo, different types of hollow points. Now, the reason you want to carry hollow points is there's a couple of reasons. One is energy transfer. Now, for those of you who don't know, a hollow point is designed to, well, one, it has an open cavity in the front of the bullet so that when it hits a target, it will fill with matter, and that cavity in the tip of the bullet will expand, and the bullet will flower out and therefore become wider, dispersing its energy over a greater area. Now, for one, that puts more energy in your target. It makes it so that the bullet will stop in your target, and that I won't say it causes more damage. Even it causes more physical damage because the bullet gets bigger, but it also physically imparts more energy into your target. Now, 2 is for the safety aspect of it. If you carry a full metal jacket round and you shoot it at a soft target, for instance, a living thing, a person,
good.
Chances are it's going to go right through it, and it's going to go through it, and it's going to go into whatever is behind it. And now that could be an innocent bystander. That could be going through your neighbor's window and their dog. Who knows?
You're killing the dog.
you want to, exactly. You want to make sure that you have hollow points and good quality hollow points in your gun if you're going to carry it. And you want to make sure specifically that your gun functions with the hollow points that you choose.
Exactly.
Some guns, they don't like certain types of hollow points. They just don't. That's the way the game goes. You need to make sure that your gun functions reliably and continuously with your carry ammo of choice.
Exactly. Perfect example. We have an upcoming review of the Ruger P85. In that video, I discuss that I went through a lot of carry rounds, and I took advice of a fellow YouTuber and said, "Oh, I'll carry the Federal HSTs." I tried. Thank God I tried, because the first mag I could not get through a mag of Federal HST hollow points in 9mm. Good little segue for everybody who doesn't really know what a hollow point is. I have a few here I'm going to show you. Now, this right here is a hollow point. As you can tell, it's hollow. As Ethan said, it fragments out, and you have tiny little shrapnel pieces going through whatever your intended target is. This is a 10mm, 175 grain silver tip through. It's a Winchester Super X hollow point. This is running at some stank of speeds. It does it say on the box? I'm getting so old that I'm gonna have to start getting glasses because I can't read that. Oh dear Lord, my dear.
Probably around 1,400, 1,500.
I'll get to that in a second. This is one example of you're gonna get hollow points that have different bullet manufacturers, different bullet designs of the hollow point. Now, stepping up, that is a kind of good entry level hollow point. Now, these are my carry rounds. 10mm, 180 grain jacketed hollow point. This is going at 1,235 feet per second with about 610 foot-pounds of energy. The Ted Nugent hollow point, baby. Uncle Ted Nugent. He's functioning flawlessly out of my Glock. I know why? Because Ted Nugent carries a Glock 10mm. That's why I can't. No, actually, that's not why I carry a 10mm. It's why I got into 10. It's not why I carry 10. But these things have some stank on it. So, for people that are wondering when it comes to foot-pounds of energy, 610 foot-pounds. What's roughly 600 pounds, Ethan? A generator, call it, maybe.
Yeah.
A hefty generator.
Maybe
something think of that just hitting you. Think of something that's about 600 pounds hitting you. Like someone threw something 600 pounds at you. Like if you're at the, getting your gym tan laundry on with your gym bros and yoga. I'm not going to say it. And they take 600 pounds of free weights and just start humming them at you. That is foot-pounds of energy. To help people understand. Now, not just 10mm, but right here, this is when I do carry 9mm. It's small. It has a silver case. It's the Hornady Critical Defense. Hornady makes so many different iterations of the hollow point. There's the critical duty. They have the zombie displayer. I don't know. There's so many different types. There's the performance hollow point. You name it. They have some type of carry around for depending on what caliber. Most calibers that people would carry, but for 9mm, you get a smaller projectile. It's still a 115 grain bullet, but again, this is the Hornady FXT 9mm bullet. This is going at about, it says muzzle velocity of 1140, and I can't, it's all biffed out, I can't tell, but 1140 to 1235. So a 10 millimeter has a little bit more stank, and but it has a lot more stopping energy than a 9 mil. So you get people like Hornady, Winchester, they have Freedom Munitions, they have Underwood. Again, for people that want to, you know, I'm trying to tell everybody 10 mil is the best, but no one's really listening on this. You know, Underwood, they can get up to the old FBI, you know, really powerful, just like what 10 mil was when Jeff Cooper designed 10 mil. Underwood is getting is like touching that threshold. Excuse me, I got a lot of indigestion. So hollow points are what is going to be most effective. Depending on the caliber, though, for instance, say 380. Studies have shown 380 ball round is more effective than a hollow point round, depending on what hollow point you're using.
That's true, so because they're a fairly low energy projectile.
Yes. So, but if you know, if you're say you're an older gentleman that knows his way around a handgun, and you want to carry like a 357 or like a 44 Magnum. You carry a hollow point in those rounds, you're going to be getting some serious muzzle energy, and a hollow point is going to be much more powder within the case.
Really, I would just say do your research, because there's going to be a whole bunch of different reviews out there. I will always personally suggest Fedor HST and any gun that runs it. And
just throwing. I'm not docking. Fedor HST. I will throw a link in the description in this, or even over on Gunstreamer after we go live. Iraq Veteran has a top five best carry rounds, and they explain a lot more in detail of carry rounds. They just go over 9 millimeter, but for the most part, a lot of people are going to carry 9 mil. But that's what you're looking at.
Absolutely. So make sure your gun likes whatever you carry, but also there's different factors. There's, for instance, bullet weights. It has to do with barrel length and all that stuff. Like, for instance, in my 3-inch Glock, in my 3-inch M&P shield,
that's right.
With a 3-inch barrel, I carry the 124 grain HSTs because they have tested best in a bunch of gel tests, which maybe we'll just talk about those another day. But they've tested best in a bunch of gel tests out of a 3-inch barrel. This guy over here, 4 1/4-inch barrel, I carry 147 grain. Because they happen to perform better with that longer barrel, so they can get a little more velocity because they're a heavier bullet. So it's just a whole bunch of different facets of what goes into choosing your carry round. So honestly, I would just say do your research. There's infinite YouTube videos on every single type of carry round you could think of. Another good
source of knowledge to look at is the Firearm blog, TFB TV. I believe his name is Andrew over at TFB TV. He does extensive ballistic testing. And then there's also Alaskan Ballistics, his channel. They cover, they show you the results. They use the FBI type of ballistics gel. They show you what penetration power. So if you're looking for a given point, check out places like Alaskan Ballistics and TFB TV, and even Iraq Veteran, Military Arms Channel. Always do your research. As much as hell as us gun tubers or pew tubers, is like I like to call us, because I'm gangster like that. We get a lot of hell on YouTube, but we want to give the information out there. Anybody who's anybody and they get a gun, they're going to try and look at YouTube, and you're going to try and see, hey, what's this? How can I do this? What's best for XYZ? So definitely check out. I will throw a link to Iraq Veterans carry video in the description, either here or on Gunstreamer, and we can definitely just get people going. And they go way over the hollow points and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. So I would call that your basic intro to concealed carry. We covered some of the points. There is so much more that goes into this entire thing. We could
talk for hours. We can
everything that there is too. But
yes, what we can definitely express is when you finally get a concealed weapons permit, and you get your firearm, whatever you get, revolver, semi-auto, full size, subcompact, compact, whatever you want to carry or whether you want to have, just it doesn't having a concealed weapon, concealed carrying isn't just carrying your gun. If you want to carry it in your purse, throw it in your car while you're driving around doing whatever you want. The best thing you can take away from this, everybody who's listening, is get practice with that firearm. Don't just load it up, say, oh, I'm going to chamber around, throw it in the drawer. Most people do that. It's unfortunately, gun owners are going to do that until they get more comfortable with carrying and, get more comfortable with the firearm. They're going to load it, chamber the round, throw it in the bedside table. Don't do that.
Exactly.
Get your practice in, get repetition in, and know how that gun works, because I would hate to see anybody that does, loads it, throws in the bedside table. Some jackwang breaks in at, 2:00 in the morning and you don't know how to fire it. What if the safety's on? What if the sights aren't aligned? What if that bullet you decide to put in doesn't work? And you could get into a serious issue. So what I think me and Ethan can both stress is get the proper training. At least shoot the gun you're looking to carry. Make sure you're abiding a lot of laws. If you see a gun-free zone sign,
yeah, we'll get into that.
I'm not getting into that. I don't have the time or mental capacity to deal with the stupidity of gun-free zones.
Exactly.
So, what I'd like to ask everybody is, if you're watching this after it goes on Gunstreamer or whatever it is, shoot us a comment or shoot us a direct message. If you want us to talk about certain things, what topics you want to talk about, like gun-free zones. I don't really want to get too political, but if you're a gun owner, you have to know politics. You have to know laws and unfortunate culture issues when it comes to your Second Amendment rights. That will definitely be a topic. Either be a podcast or a video that we're just gonna shoot and shit and telling you what exactly it means. But shoot down in the comments, like, share, subscribe. Do you got anything else you want to say?
Honestly, just kind of going back to your final point there. Absolutely get the training. If you are carrying a weapon, you are taking a responsibility for yourself and those around you. You are carrying literally the ability to take life in your hands. Do not take it lightly. All right, these are dangerous tools that once trained with, people can be very safely dealt with. Get comfortable with it. Train with your firearm. It is a responsibility that you take up whenever you put a loaded gun on yourself. And that's all I can say. Train, 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 train. Get comfortable with it. Understand what you're dealing with and just be safe. That's really all you can say.
Yeah, that's the best you can say. The best you can do is just be safe and know your local laws and jurisdictions and make sure you're following the law to a T. Mm-hmm. But I think we did a pretty good job at a good understanding of it. For entry level or intro 101. Concealed carry 101. I like your thinking. So for everybody that has been watching, the few that were in the chat, we thank you. That is much appreciated. Like, share, subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope everybody has a great night. We'll talk to you all soon.
Absolutely. Have a good night, everybody.
All right.